Cybertron, our home. For generations, it has been a peaceful world, until pride and a lust for power divided us. Now we fight enemies who were once our brothers.
Hello, my name is MewMonster58 and hope you're all having a wonderful day, and welcome to the YouTube channel. Now, I am new to the YouTube scene, so obviously this is going to be sort of my first dabble in this space that I've been watching content on for such a long time, but I thought that, hey, might be a good avenue for me to take a look at, even just for a little bit. I'm currently in school, but might as well see if I can entertain you people with some amazing, hopefully amazing content, but obviously I'm not going to say it's amazing. But I hope I can do my best to entertain you all and that you can enjoy watching my videos. So, I am a huge gamer, always have been ever since I was a little kid, been into Pokemon obviously by my username and my name on here on YouTube, and been into a ton of other stuff such as Smash Brothers and Bakugan when I was younger. I was a huge League player, enjoy playing Civilization and Monster Hunter, and of course, as evident by what's on your screen right now, huge Transformers fan and Transformers collector, also a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. So when it comes to what I was thinking of to begin my YouTube channel, I thought, why not a let's play of one of my favorite games of all time, Transformers War for Cybertron. This game is amazing, and you'll see that as I play through, for those of you who are Transformers fans and for those of you who aren't Transformers fans. So this is something, again, that I hope you guys will enjoy. I know I'm going to enjoy playing this game because I always do. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the Let's Play. Alright, so to begin here, there is a co-op campaign, and I will explain more as we get into it, but sadly, since the servers for this game are, well, kaput, there is no more co-op anything, no multiplayer, no nothing. So I think without further ado, let's get into the campaign. So the way this campaign works is that it's half Decepticon, half Autobot. And so we will be playing as the bad guys for the first half of the game, and then we'll be playing as the good guys for the last half of the game. So let's get into it and start off with the first chapter.
Civil war has ravaged Cybertron, homeworld to the Transformers, for millions of years. Megatron, leader of the Decepticons, recently discovered an ancient power that will give him the edge to win over the hated Autobots. Called Dark Energon, this power remains locked away in an orbital station under the protection of a Sky Commander named Starscream.
Starscream wouldn't fight with such desperation if the legends weren't true.
Lord Megatron, you're certain it's here?
I am certain, Barricade. And when I find it, the balance of this war with the Autobots will finally tip in my favor. Lord Megatron, stabilizers are failing. Maintain your heading, Brawl. Do not falter.
Sublight engines are offline. Shields at 15%.
Reroute all power to forward guns and thrusters. Full speed ahead.
But sir, that's suicide.
Any further objections? Ram this warship straight into the heart of that station.
To have survived that, Megatron.
The strong survive, the weak perish.
Lord Megatron, the ship's reactor core is failing. Explosion imminent.
Move, Decepticons. Double time.
The core's about to detonate.
Go, go, go!
It's bullet
am Megatron, leader of the Decepticons. This space station is Decepticon property. Surrender immediately.
Whoever you are, you've traveled a long way just to meet your doom.
And we're into the heat of the action already, so yeah, that was Starscream. So it's really interesting in this game, especially if you watch the original cartoon. This game really kind of paints a picture of maybe a sort of a different story to how the original cartoon was, but definitely different in its own ways. Excuse me, paints a picture that's different to the cartoon, but also kind of ties in with the cartoon. So before we continue moving here, I'm going to explain a few things, some of the game's mechanics. So first off, once we get past here, we can get a little peace and quiet. There's a lot of shooting right now, as it is. But yeah, this game's absolutely beautiful. Even for 2010 standards, I think this game still looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, there are a few things in this game that are going to look really dated, and I will admit that, but at the same time, I think this game still looks great. This is really a robot-centered world, and it also makes you feel like you're in the action. So, let's explain a few things before we move on here. So first off, each Transformer has their own movement here. I can also double jump by pressing the A button twice. I am using a controller, so on PC controls this might be different. Also, I'll explain about PC stuff later in a sec here. You use the right trigger to fire. You can also have a secondary weapon, which you can switch to with Y, but we don't have a secondary weapon. And then you tap the left control stick to transform. And then in your vehicle form, you press the left trigger if you want a boost of speed, and usually you just kind of float around, but then you can also use your right trigger to fire. And of course that, excuse me, that gun will differ depending on what Transformer you're playing. And speaking of what Transformer you're playing, there are 3 different Transformers that you can play for each mission, because obviously this is a co-op campaign as well. So first off, we have Megatron here, which I decided to play because I felt that starting off with the big bad himself is probably the coolest thing that we can do here, and the most fitting at least. So each character has 2 abilities. So in the upper left corners and upper right corner, you can see 4 bars of blue. That's your health. The top right is the weapon that you currently have equipped along with the ammo that's in it. You then have your abilities in the top left and top right in those little black and white squares right below them. On the left here we have Megatron's first ability, which is hover, which you activate with the left bumper. So here basically you hover above the ground for a few seconds, and then you can also get a damage boost to your weapons. The right bumper ability is called Drain. Now Drain, basically you siphon health from nearby enemies and take it as your own, as well as damaging them. And so really nice when you're in a big group of enemies and you need some help here. Now each of these characters also have their own abilities if you decide to play them. So Brawl here has the Whirlwind ability, which basically allows you to swing around your mace around in a circle and damage enemies with melee attacks for a few seconds. And then he also has the ability called Dash, which basically is a short range dash, allows you to move around areas a little bit quicker. Kind of fitting for a guy this big. Actually not fitting, excuse me, kind of awkward for a guy this big, but yeah. Then we have Barricade, who has abilities of Shockwave and Barrier. So Shockwave is an ability where there's a little explosion that happens around you, pushes enemies away from you and deals damage to them. And then also the Barrier ability basically puts a barrier in front of you about the size of this door, and then allows you to not take shots from it from the front, but you can't shoot through it. In the next game they actually fixed that, but since we're not in the next game, that doesn't exist here. So let's move on with the story. It's an absolutely beautiful game still. I can't gush about this enough. Still looks great. Oh, and speaking of this, basically, the PC controls... The PC controls are the ones that show up despite the fact that I am using a controller, and that's because this game I wouldn't say is exactly optimized for the PC. I mean, you can play it on the PC, it's fine, it was released on the PC initially, but, yeah, it's not the best optimized. So when you kill enemies also, they will drop these little shards here, these little white shards here. These basically charge your abilities.
Ambush at the next door. Fat chance. We could use that crane to reach the crash template and blind them. Ambush their ambush. I like it.
So at the same token, if you shoot these little boxes, sometimes health or ammo will come out of them. For these ones, for the ones that light up like that with the blue, like that one over there, those will most likely have health, and then sometimes they can also have another item, which hopefully we can run into that soon, and I'll talk about that. But yeah, this game is great. Also, the voice acting is fantastic. I'll say the person who voices Megatron here isn't the original from the original 1980s.
Transmit your coordinates, Soundwave, and I want everything ready upon my arrival.
From the 1986 cartoon, this Megatron's voice actor isn't, but he has voiced a ton of stuff like in American Dad. He's voiced stuff in The Simpsons, I believe. I will put his name up on screen right now, actually. But here we can grab this second weapon. So yeah, this guy's a really good voice. I think the voice that he does for Megatron is really fantastic. So here we got some little foot soldiers here. There are some parts of this game that are tough. I'd say the only thing that's really tough about this game is getting overwhelmed by enemies. Not really the enemies themselves, more like 80 enemies fighting you at once, and then all of a sudden you get shot like 80 times from like 8 directions. That's the only real tough part about this game, I think. At least in its campaign mode. In multiplayer, it's a whole different ball game. Really nice stuff here. And this is the first Transformers game on the Xbox 360 that I ever played, and on top of that, it's one of the first games where you were able to freely transform in and out of your robot and vehicle forms that I played as well. At least on a console that was not a handheld.
Megatron! I thought you'd be scrambling by now. Your survival intrigues me.
I shall deny Starscream. Surrender your Dark Energon program to me immediately!
Dark Energon? Are you mad? Dark Energon brings only death and chaos.
I am counting on it.
So it's interesting in this game how I think...
Rip off Starscream tape and boot it into space, please. Patience, Brawl. Starscream knows this station inside and out. He may get used to us.
I think when it comes to this game, it's really interesting how Starscream in this game was essentially, in this game series, is a soldier that is guarding the station, and in the original cartoon, he had been part of Megatron's air command for a long time, even before they had to escape Cybertron to go to Earth. And so it's really interesting how that works. I don't particularly like that if you're a G1 fan like I am, but it's really nice here for the story. And I'm sorry if I end up talking over some certain things here. I definitely apologize for that. I'm not exactly the most familiar with the amount of cutscenes, like little tidbits they have, but that's what also makes this game amazing. So over there...
That's a pretty long drop.
Jump, you fool!
is the overshield. So it's a little item. I wish I actually got to show what it looked like, but I guess that happened. So, but yeah, it gives you a second health bar. And they're scattered throughout levels. They're pretty hard.
How do we get out?
They're pretty hard to find, but it's because they're so good to use. So we got a bunch more Autobots. These are Autobots, oddly enough, but it makes sense considering that what I do like. So we have these turrets here, but what I like is that you'll see some stuff that references the original cartoon here in a little bit that I'll talk about. So we got these big turrets that we can shoot. These are called ion displacers, and what's funny is you can actually take the gun out of the turret, which is really cool. And the other thing I love, the little details that I love about this game, is that the Transformers actually like become parts of these guns. Like they're not just, oh yeah, we should grab onto them and push triggers to shoot them. I just find it fascinating that we can actually, that they actually become part of the guns like they should be, because again, they're robots.
Onward, through that door!
So move through here. Also, I did forget to mention, with the right control stick, you do have a melee if you hit it. Each character's melee is different, but will always all do the same damage. The only time that changes is when you have something like the Whirlwind, when it's like multiple hits over and over again. But I mean, look at these areas. It's so cool to see these areas. And I love little things like this, when enemies kind of walk back and they don't notice. And it's really cool, because again, the way that they did this is it makes you feel like you're really a part of the action. Like this area here. You can actually shoot the prisoners if you want to. And like here, you can actually melee them and kill them. And I mean, look at this area. It's really awesome. But enough about gushing of the game. I'm sorry if that's getting overwhelming for you guys. So, activate this and we'll head up these elevators. These are neat elevators as well.
My name is Jetfire. I'm not here to fight.
That makes one of us. Speak your piece, quickly.
I've seen the horrors of what Dark Energon can do, Megatron. It is not to be trifled with. Its power is too unstable. To use it would mean disaster.
You cannot frighten me, Jetfire. I will use Dark Energon as I please.
You are a short-sighted fool. You'll kill us all!
You say that as if it were a
So Jetfire here. We'll see a little cutscene later that deals with Jetfire.
Worth it, Megatron.
And basically, I'll talk about how this references the original cartoon, which is really, really cool. So here, we got,
Soundwave report.
Soundwave.
Control of this portion of the station and established your base of operations. Scans indicate that Starscream has locked down all logical routes to the Dark Energon reactor.
And we're fresh out of Star Cruisers to tunnel our way.
Quiet. There must be another access point. We have to reach the station's next pod.
Megatron, I have located a nearby data metric center to reveal any alternate means of entry to the next pod. Advanced teams have already been set